Hey, what's going on, friends and family? My name is Skylent, and I've been on this expedition into the greater umbrella genre of action RPG, and that, of course, comes with the territory of being rather grindy and understanding addiction and the looting mechanics within all that. It's actually kind of awesome, really. I'm somebody who generally wouldn't touch that kind of stuff, but with my last video talking about the top 10 grinding games, I dipped my toes into those games, and I said, you know what, it wasn't so bad. I kind of liked it. The water was fine. And now, I think it's starting to sink its teeth in, because I'm talking about here my upcoming favorite new games to grind. New grinding games. Games where grinding is kind of like the main gameplay loop. It's really the core mechanic, and it's really what you play these games for. And also, they're all online. They're all games that you're going to be playing with your friends, and grinding is an activity that doesn't require too much of too many anythings, but you guys, such a spectacle on the screen, and generally these games are turning into more mechanical based titles. You know, a lot of hordes of enemies on the screen getting splattered by you and your buddies, and it just can be kind of bombastic and fun. So I'm appreciating these games more and more every day, and I'm thinking in the future, when those days come, when these games release, these are going to be the grinding games that you're going to want to jump onto. Alright guys, number 5, I have a game called Survived By. This is essentially Realm of the Mad God 2.0 in a lot of ways. So what is the grind? Well, if you've played Realm of the Mad God, you know immediately that it's a fun game to jump into. It's kind of a bullet hell MMO RPG sort of thing. Survived By, I didn't see that many players, so I guess you can consider it MMO light, but it's an open world. You run around and you bullet hell everything as it's trying to bullet hell you, and you try to go around and kind of upgrade your character. This time, the difference here with this game that makes it extra grindy and kind of extra fun and spectacular is that you're gonna get actually like different weapons, different guns, like different stabs and swords and things that have totally different projectile behaviors. My ricochet, you might have boomerang and ricochet, you might have split projectiles and twirly projectiles, tornado projectiles, and then you can mix and match, and you're supposed to find these items and take those traits and actually like disassemble the weapon, disassemble those traits, and then put it onto new weapons. But you can actually die and lose all your progress. It is a rogue light MMO RPG, so it's a game that you're going to be re-grinding over and over again. One detriment to this game so far is that being published by Digital Extremes here, they took a lot of stuff that was in Warframe that they got away with and putting it in this game, which being a roguelite isn't so good, such as this is supposed to be a really fast-paced game where it's all about grinding and getting new toys. But there's crafting timers, and it kind of is really long, and it kind of sucks. But other than that, Survived By is looking to be a really awesome successor, or at least competitor, to Realm of the Mad God. I appreciate it so far in its beta state, and I think you guys will too, if you're looking for a good grind. Number 4, we have Project TL. Now, the placement of these games is based essentially like on the knowledge that we have so far and how that relates to the grind. Basically, Project TL, I think it's going to be a grindy game, but whether that's going to be a good or fun grind, I don't actually know. Project TL seems to be going in some weird directions, as in like, I don't even know what direction it's going in. It keeps like rebranding itself and things. Anyways, this is the Lineage project, and coming from, well, it's Lineage, right? It's got to have a grind in some way. Hopefully it's good. And Lineage Revolution, anyways, so Project TL looks like it's a really action-based action RPG. It looks really beautiful, it looks gorgeous, competing with Lost Ark for some of the most gorgeous action RPG gameplay I've ever seen. Of course, we need to know more information about it, and they keep like flip-flopping on ideas and concepts, but overall, like, with this production value, can it go wrong? Can it go bad? At least when it comes to the core gameplay loop. Can it be so perverse? You know, they could always throw in some pay to win, who knows, BDO, holla holla, but for a new grinding game, there's no way I was gonna leave off one of those, you know, new Asian grinders. And Project TL, in my opinion, I think it's gonna probably be one of the best when it comes to specifically that. I think, yeah, I would have to admit here, Lost Ark looks like it's gonna be more fun to one and done, or to replay maybe with different classes and PvP and play as an MMO, but as a grinding action RPG, Project TL has got my vote for that. Halfway on the list, talking about The Division 2. I've mentioned it a few times in a couple of other lists, and I'm probably going to continue to mention it because as I guess the release date gets closer, and as I do a little bit more research, I just feel like The Division 2 actually has something unique to it. I mean, it wasn't the original game, it wasn't quite what people envisioned, I don't think The Division 2 is going to be that original fantasy or vision, but I think it's going to do what The Division 1 did and just better. I mean, that's the dream, right? And I think I say that every time, but I'm going to try to be realistic here with this review of upcoming games. The Division 2 is probably not going to be a great MMO. It probably will be a light MMO light, but as a cooperative and pseudo PvP game, but mainly as a cooperative game where you run through dungeons or, these linear levels or what have you, as you run through the game and you're grinding it, regrinding it, playing the paper doll, going through that sort of gameplay loop, I think is going to be really fun. Hopefully we have more fun, engaging, open world-ish, open instance at least, events, actually hopefully that we have more interesting and engaging game modes, and I can see how I want the game to unfold and be more of an MMO. But I think, all that is speculation, all that is hope and hype, but The Division 2, I think is going to be a really freaking solid grinding looter shooter. The first one wasn't bad, at least when it came to that aspect. It wasn't the fantasy that we envisioned, but The Division 2 is going to build on that foundation, and at least bare bones is going to have the skeleton of a great frickin' looter shooter. All right, number 2, I'm gonna slap down Torchlight Frontiers. Now, I'm saying this with a smile because I actually have the words of the developers here saying how, they want the game to be as honest and truthful to the genre and to the game loop as possible. You can actually see how they're taking out some certain mechanics. They're not gonna have trading apparently, and they're gonna be completely focused on that progression of the player character and really focusing on the itemization and having lots of really fun builds that you might, go into a certain ice zone with one build and go into a desert zone. You have to have different items, and the game is all about grinding and regrinding and acquiring all these new tool sets which are equipped with the items. I think that is going to make it very exciting for people, obviously, who like to grind. There's just more grind, and then also the grind is of all these different toys, right? It's not just stat sticks, hopefully, that, you're grinding and you're actually getting new things that give you new gameplay and give you access or better access, more efficiency as you play through the different areas, which should be noted, Torchlight Frontiers is departing or kind of unfolding itself from older titles, Torchlight 2 and 1, which are applauded and beloved by its player base, and then becoming more of an MMO light, with open instances and dungeons, kind of drop in, drop out gameplay. It's a little bit more fluid and flighty, and I think could be more fun. It might be a little bit different, but with the developers really trying to hone in on the fair mechanics, fun mechanics that really justify grinding and repetitious gameplay, daily gameplay, the stuff that we really want when we play these online action RPGs. I think that's really cool, as long as it's not grossly monetized or perverted in some way so that they can, cash shop us to death. Perfect World is kind of a scary publisher, but with Torchlight, I think we're going to see something, coming from developers who play these kind of games, who have made these kind of games, who love these kind of games. I think that we're going to get the game that we want. It might be a little bit different, might be a little bit more, a little bit less here and there, but I think it's going to kind of more or less hit the spot that we really want for an online grinding game. And finally here at number 1, I'm going to put down, with so much bias, my number 1 is Anthem here. And Anthem, I'm really excited about, because after really looking at the gameplay and thinking about it for a while, after doing a lot of list videos, I've noticed that, Anthem has been creeping up my lists. I don't know why. I guess I've been playing a lot of other action RPGs and comparing and contrasting and seeing what is very populated. So there's a lot of games that are like Diablo on all platforms, and we're seeing more looter shooters, but Anthem, compared to the general action RPG population, and then compared even to its own genre of looter shooter, it's looking really different and very unique. And I think the big thing here is that it's not really grinding lots of enemies, not just hordes and waves of enemies, though that might be the case somewhat with gameplay. I mean, we'll still have to play the game, we'll still have to see more of it, but it seems like it's more focused on kind of like kaiju battles, almost more Monster Hunter-y, which Monster Hunter is a fantastic grinding game, and it's on my list, and I love talking about and playing Monster Hunters. I love just boss rush games. Those can be grinding games too, but generally you do see you're just, killing swaths of enemies, waves of enemies, tons of enemies with a single button, but Anthem might be a little bit more teamwork, might be a little bit more forced cooperation. So it's not an MMO light. It is a instance co-op game like you would expect from Monster Hunter. You're going to jump down into an area, and then you're going to be pursuing the play with your party. But it's going to really amount to the teamwork and the cooperation and the actions that you do when you're fighting bosses. It's going to be a bossing game, and I think that's going to be really cool to consistently grind down, especially if they kind of put in like big raids, really fun endgame stuff like we see in Destiny to an extent. I really want that, even if it does lack a lot of open world stuff, even if it does lack, you know, the horde and the warframey killing hundreds of enemies with abilities kind of thing. Even if it lacks that, it still looks really different and unique. And I think if you ever played a Monster Hunter, you know, shooting or otherwise, I'm just saying like a Monster Hunter game, you know that it's fun just even chasing around a single monster and regrinding and playing over and over and acquiring efficiency with that. It's not all about just throwing your face at a mountain of enemies. Sometimes the enemy is the mountain, and learning to climb that through repetition is a lot of freaking fun. So yeah, that's why I'm putting that out there. Anthem is so far my #1 upcoming new grinding game. So yeah, guys, I know not everybody likes grinding games for the sake of grinding, but regardless, I think all these games are going to be worth at least looking at for a bunch of different reasons. I think they do offer more, but yeah, if you like grinding, absolutely, man. These are the games to jump into, and I think especially Survived By and Torchlight Frontiers being free to play are going to be the ones that, yeah, I mean, they got no excuse, right? But I'm really looking forward to the AAA production and hopefully the unperverse grind that will be offered by Anthem. But, you know, we got to see. These kind of games tend to often let slip through the cracks things that, if you don't like grinding, man, you'll really hate. You know, like timers, crafting timers, stamina potions, and all sorts of weird stuff. Or it's overly grindy, and it's not really skill-based. It's all stat-based. And, you know, there's so many things that can go wrong with the balance and the feel of these games, and that's why they tend to be niche, except now they're more popular than ever, and they're on more platforms, and they're coming in more radical different genres than ever, and so it's kind of exciting to talk about. It could still be super hit or miss. Maybe all these games will fail. I don't know. All I can do and try is keep the hype alive. Thanks for watching, friends. My name's Skylent, and I'll see you again next time.